Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about a recent measure taken by President Donald Trump. On February 5, 2025, President Donald Trump signed an executive order banning men from participating in women's sports. This move, which is sparking controversy across the nation, has significant implications for sports and gender equality. The executive order, titled Keeping Men Out of Women's Sports, aims to prevent transgender athletes, who were assigned male at birth, from competing in women's sports teams. Trump has argued that biological men have inherent physical advantages that affect fairness in sports. This move has generated divided reactions within the sports community. Some federations and organizations, like the International Boxing Association, have supported the idea, while others, like the California Sports Federation, have stated they will continue to allow transgender athletes to participate in female teams under local laws. In some states, like California, laws protecting transgender athletes in sports remain in effect. This creates a conflict between federal and state legislation, which could lead to legal challenges regarding the validity of the executive order. Here you can see the states that allow transgender athletes to compete on teams matching their gender identity: Colorado, Connecticut, Illinois, Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington. On the other hand, opponents of the executive order argue that this measure is discriminatory and undermines the rights of transgender people. Civil rights groups, as well as some women's sports advocates, believe inclusion is key to equality. Trump justifies the order as a necessary step to protect fairness in women's sports. In his view, biologically male athletes, even if they have transitioned, have an unfair advantage over women.
And this doesn't have to be long. It's just all about common sense. Doesn't have to be long. In a few moments, I'll sign a historic executive order to ban men from competing in women's sports. It's about time. Under the Trump administration, we will defend the proud tradition of female athletes, and we will not allow men to beat up, injure, and cheat our women and our girls. From now on, women's sports will be only for women. So in recent years, the radical left has waged an all-out campaign to erase the very concept of biological sex and replace it with a militant transgender ideology. You've heard a little bit about this, haven't you? Huh? Just a little bit? Does anybody agree with them? No. Would be not a good thing to say yes right here. Female athletes have been forced onto the front lines, and men claiming to be girls have stolen more than 3,500 victories, that's a lot, and invaded more than 11,000 competitions designed for women. Last year, a male cyclist posing as a woman competed in the 800-mile Arizona trail race, a very big deal in cycling, and obliterated the women's course record by nearly 5.5 hours. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it, huh? 5.5 hours, but you have to hear the weightlifting records. You think that's bad. The weightlifting's worse. In 2023, a man in women's powerlifting broke 2 world records and outlifted his closest female opponent in one event by 440 pounds. And they continue to defend themselves, Mr. Congressman. You know that, right? They continue to defend themselves. We hope they continue onward, because I don't think we can lose a race. This was one of the big reasons that we all won, and it's one of the big reasons that we had a record, a landslide like they haven't seen before, very often anyway. And who could forget last year's Paris Olympics, where a male boxer stole the women's gold medal after brutalizing his female opponent so viciously that she had to forfeit just after 46 seconds, and she was a championship fighter. And actually, they had 2 women or 2 people that transitioned, and both of them won gold medals, and they won them very convincingly. But all of that ends today, because with this executive order, the war on women's sports is over. Action this afternoon, we're putting every school receiving taxpayer dollars on notice that if you let men take over women's sports teams or invade your locker rooms, you will be investigated for violations of Title IX and risk your federal funding, there will be no federal funding. We'll effectively end the attack on female athletes at public K-12 schools and virtually all U.S. colleges and universities. I don't think we've missed anything, but if we do, we'll make it up very quickly with an order, and I don't think we will.
The future of women's sports and inclusion policies may be at stake, as courts will decide whether the executive order can override state laws. This is a topic that will continue to spark debates in the coming years. What is clear is that this executive order is just the beginning of a broader discussion about the role of transgender athletes in sports. What do you think about this measure? Leave us your comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.